Okay, so this is your exam format basically. Right. Right. Okay. So over here it has reading aloud and stimulus-based conversation. Okay. So reading aloud is actually 10 marks, as you can see, right? It's 10 marks. And then we have about 5 minutes of preparation time and 5 minutes of examination time. So that's basically how you're going to be tested for oral. Okay, and then on top of that, I think the one that has a heavier weightage will be the stimulus-based conversation. For that, it's a total of 20 marks. Okay, so in total, it's 30 marks, but of course, when we put it into percentage, it's basically 15% of the total 100 marks for English, which is quite a fair bit actually. So I think it's still important to do well for your oral exam. Yeah. Now, so in terms of oral communication, for reading aloud, candidates are assessed on their ability to pronounce and articulate words clearly, as well as their ability to read fluently with appropriate expression and rhythm. Okay, so that's for reading aloud. Yeah. Then for stimulus-based conversation, candidates are assessed on their ability to give a personal response to a visual stimulus and engage in a conversation on a relevant topic. Okay, so in this case, okay, yeah, so basically that's that. I think there's nothing else to this. Basically, it's just to let you know an overview of what you will be tested for oral. Okay, so 10 marks and 10 marks for reading aloud, 20 marks for stimulus-based. Stimulus-based, you will be prompted to give a response based on a visual stimulus and engage in a conversation. Okay, so I think we will go through the questions in your homework first before we come to the oral parts. Okay, the oral stimulus-based conversation is going to be last. SBC stands for stimulus-based conversation. Okay, now let's take a look at MCQ for vocabulary. He had to sprinkle more salt on the French fries because they were what and tasteless. Any volunteers? Yes, Abir.
Bland.
Okay, what does bland means?
No flavor.
Yes, okay, it's lacking. Okay, lacking strong characteristics. So therefore, uninteresting. Okay, next one is junk, right? Junk means like, old and discarded, means someone threw it away. Yeah, old and discarded articles. So of course, we're not using that word to describe French fries, right? And a French fries that needs more salt. Now, in terms of starchy, starchy means that it is something that contains a lot of starch. Okay, actually, French fries contains a lot of starch because French fries is made from potatoes, and potatoes are starchy vegetables. Yeah, but in this case, we don't put more salt because they are starchy. Yeah, so starchy means something that contains a lot of starch. Okay, then of course we have greasy as well. Greasy means greasy means it's really oily, right? It's covered with or resembling grease or oil. Okay, so in this case, of course, the answer is A, because it is, lacking strong characteristic in terms of taste. So I think that's correct. Yeah, Abir, very good. Okay, now let's move on to the next one. The 6-year-old girl ate so messily that the floor was covered with
Crumbs.
very good, Ariano. Okay, crumbs. So when we talk about food, those that are left over on the floor, on the table, they're usually crumbs. Now, heaps is a collective noun. Heap can actually refer to like maybe a heap of sand, a heap of sugar, basically heaps of cardboard boxes. So things that are haphazardly on top of one another. Okay, so this one is things placed haphazardly on top of one another. So this one is heaps. Okay. Then of course we've got pieces, we've got crumbs. Crumbs is of course the best answer amongst all. Yeah. Okay, next one. Seeing the flies on the food made her lose her what? She couldn't eat. Appetite. Very good. Hanushka. Appetite. Okay. So footing, of course, if you slip and fall, then maybe you lose your footing. That's when you lose your footing, right? Of course, if you lose your mind, means that you are just so angry and you just cannot maintain your cool, right? If you lose your mind. So these are just very common collocations. When you say lose appetite, means that you don't have the appetite, you don't have the desire to eat. Lose your footing means you slip and fall, right? Lose your mind means you just cannot keep your cool anymore, yeah? Or lose your cool is the same also. If you lose your cool means that you cannot control your emotions. Okay, losing your cool. Okay, now next one. The what smell of durian filled the air when dessert was served? Pavishya, yes.
It is savory.
Savory. Okay, now what is savory? Savory does not really refer to durian because generally durians are sweet. So when we talk about savory food, we are actually referring to food that are either salty or even spicy rather than sweet. Okay, so not sweet. So in this case, we can't use savory to describe durian. Yeah, Hanushka, what do you think?
Is it A?
Pungent, yes. When we talk about pungent, it's something that is so strong smelling. It has a sharp, strong taste or smell. Okay, sharp, strong taste or smell. So a lot of times, some people, they either love durian or they just cannot take durian because of the very pervasive, penetrating smell of the durian. Okay, so in this case, yes, the answer is A. Now, what about dank? What does dank mean? Okay, dank means something that is really unpleasantly damp and cold. Okay, so something that's unpleasantly damp and cold, like for example, dank caverns, dank caves, right? So all these are dank. Now, of course, keen is something, keen can mean two things. It can be an adjective, it can be a noun as well. Okay, so when we say he's keen, right? Keen means like something that you're eager, but sometimes keen can also mean something that's highly developed. So if I say that Ariano has a keen eyesight, means that his eyesight is really good, very sharp. Okay, keen, right? And then also, okay, when we talk about keen as an adjective, it means that you are very eager, very enthusiastic. Okay, right. Now, next one. The Residents Welfare Committee of our block is organizing a big what at the community center to celebrate. Sorry? Festivity, yes. Ariano, right? Okay. Yeah. So in this case, when we talk about festivity, it's mostly something that is related to like community and all. So a bash is something that actually bash can be a party or social event, particularly referring to birthday, like a birthday bash. Okay, so it's a party or a social event, not so much of community kind of spirit. Okay, a spree is something like a shopping spree. If let's say you go on a shopping spree, it means that you just take, basically it's like a sustained period of unrestrained. Okay, a sustained period of unrestrained activity. It might not just be shopping, it can just be any spree that you go and you cannot control yourself. That means you're unrestrained. Unrestrained means it's uncontrolled. Yeah, of any kind. Okay. Then in terms of occasion, right? Occasion, it means basically occasion can mean a lot of things, like a particular event. It can be like a cause of something. Okay, so I think I will not write that down. I think all of you should know what the meaning of occasion is. Then in terms of festivity, like I say, it's usually the celebration of something. Okay, it's a celebration of something in a joyful way. So in this case, actually, the sentence has already given you some clues, right? The sentence said to celebrate the new year. So it's something that is worth celebrating. So it's a festivity. Whereas a bash is usually generally a birthday. Okay, so that's that. All right, so we've got all our answers here. Okay, now let's have a look at this. Dear Diary, today our class bade farewell what our art teacher, Mrs. Lim. Anyone? Abir? Sorry, Abir? Two, yes, very good. Okay, so gave bid farewell to, very good, because when we say goodbye, it's always to, right? Farewell to. Okay, very good. Oh, sorry. We were in disbelief when we found out that what would no longer be teaching us. Yes, Ariano. Very good. Okay, this one is definitely personal pronoun she. It should not be her because her is a possessive pronoun. Okay. And possessive pronoun always comes before a noun, but there's no noun here. This one is a modal verb. So usually a modal verb means it will be she because she is acting as a noun here, right? So she would no longer be teaching us. Lisa, what most upset to hear the news because Mrs. Lim had been her teacher for 4 years. Hanushka.
Was.
She was, yes. Okay, because if you notice, almost everything in the text is in past tense because we are recounting on something. Bade farewell, right? We were, found, okay, had been. So all in past tense. So therefore, the verb also should be in past tense. Now, bid is the past tense of bid. Okay, this is the present tense. And this is the past tense. Okay, now next one. When Lisa started crying, my classmates and Bhavishya.
I.
Very good. Okay, how do you determine is it me or I? You will replace the word here and